Well then, the hits just keep coming. The other day I went out in the first rail drive of the E46 since I put the new doors on, went and got some dinner. On the way back, I was driving down the highway and one of the songs from the Need for Speed Most Wanted soundtrack came on and I was vibing heading down the highway. We took a ramp onto another highway, stuck behind some cars doing 40 miles an hour in a 60. So when we got onto the highway, I moved on over and just kind of floored it to get back up to 60. It was at about that point that the low coolant light came on. I was like, I wonder if I have a leak somewhere. Half a second later, I look in the rearview mirror and see steam everywhere and immediately shut off the car and put the clutch in and move over to the side of the road. Yeah, the coolant system decided to do a not alive, and that left me a couple miles from home. Really, it was actually quite close. Pretty fortunate where we actually broke down. We were able to flat tow it back. Daniel came to my rescue in the world's cleanest. Damn it! What's wrong with this? Yeah, so also my heater's broken and it's 20 degrees now. At least it's that warm. I've been stuck waiting for it to warm up. It'll just blow out for no reason. It's like the opposite of what would happen if the thermocouple was bad. So I've got no heat in here. That's fun. I was hoping that fixed itself. The other thing that didn't fix itself was this. Daniel came, we flat towed it in the world's cleanest red XJ Cherokee. The new electric 3 Series. So quiet and smooth running. And then pushed it here into the garage where it's been sitting for 5 days, waiting for me to take a look at what exactly is wrong. Now, what I suspect is the coolant expansion tank, and people are probably thinking right now, Jake, why didn't you replace all this stuff already? Well, when I bought this, the previous owner said he had just replaced the entire cooling system, and I believed him because it was all nice and shiny and new looking. But now I look at it and it is nice and shiny and new looking, but it's also cheap. But before I go ordering parts, I want to make sure this is actually what has failed. And to that end, I bought, where is it? Here it is. A radiator pressure test kit, so I can put some water in here, pressurize it with water, because you know coolant is expensive and it's just going to go on the floor anyway. So we're going to put some water in there, pump it up. I did buy this instead of renting it from O'Reilly's because I know I'm going to need it again. Yeah, we'll see where the water is coming from. Probably going to be the expansion tank, and I'll have to buy a new one, but that'll have to wait for shipping and stuff. So that'll probably be next week. For now, let's just see if we can figure out what's going on here and rip this thing out. What is there, like a helicopter flying over? What is happening? Well, I'm real smart. I started to pour the water and it turned instantly to slush. Somehow these just sitting. What is happening here? It's like frozen but not frozen. I got these out of the freezer or the fridge and they were still liquid, and then yeah, they just freeze up. Hang on, that's kind of cool. It's a super cooled water. It's liquid until you pour it on something. That's kind of neat. I'm gonna make a sculpture. So yeah, basically it's that cold in my shop. So I'm just kind of pouring water in here after heating it up with the propane heater. It's turning to slush instantly. Yeah, and then I'm just gonna pour some of the old forbidden Mountain Dew in here. See if that can anti-freeze my nice coolant slushy here. Oh yeah, it's melting right through it. Man, why do they make it smell so good? Oh, there we go. And it's still not like a solid, it's still malleable. It's so weird. Because there's no, there's just coolant everywhere. There's no real obvious source for it. And nothing's dripping on the ground yet. Okay, I got really tired of filling this, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw this on here and see if like I see any bubbling or coolant coming out. Okay, it is holding 0 pressure. I hear air coming out. I can't tell where from. I wonder if I should just start the car. Maybe the water pump spinning is just enough pressure to just push it on out of wherever it's leaking from. Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna start it and see where coolant pours out of and go from there. Well, it looks like I probably have something else to fix. Either the freaking water pump or power steering pump was all kinds of pissed off there, or the DISA valve in the intake. Not sure which. I'll unplug the DISA and see if that changes anything. Maybe something's just upset about the cold, but looks like it was dripping from the backs, like the in between the radiator tank and the expansion tank. So hopefully it's the expansion tank that's leaking. I guess I'll start tearing into this and see if I can find a crack or something. Okay, so I was really confused because the coolant was dripping from between the expansion tank and the radiator, and as you can see, this part of the expansion tank looks great, and the O-rings are in good shape, so what gives? Well, behold my tale of woe. There, right underneath the water neck, the tank on the radiator exploded, so I need a new radiator. Hey, will you look at that? It is still wildly cold out here, but a little bit of starting fluid was all it took to finally kick this thing back to life. At the very least, I can get the snow melted off the snout and charge the battery up and get some fluid circulating around this thing. Maybe get to O'Reilly's for some hood struts that aren't trash. Ah yes, here's someone who's having just about as bad luck as me. This cold took out a headlamp, the windshield, and the infotainment display on my mom's 2015 Mazda 3, so I can't do anything about most of those, but I can put a bulb in this. On my Mazda 6, you had to remove the whole bumper to do a headlight, but this luckily does not look like the case here. Hey, look at that. At least that's one thing that I can actually pull off correctly. Nice dim halogens. Cool. That lower radiator hose really got stuck on there. I had to hammer at it with a pry bar and a dead blow, which, yeah, when they get to that point, they need replacing. Ones that are fresh enough to not need replacing don't do that. So I'm going to get new lower, upper radiator hoses, new tank, or new radiator rather, a new expansion expansion thing. I don't know if the new radiator will come with this bracket, but I'll need a new bracket as well because it broke during removal, which it's actually still attached to that lower hose there. I'll have to get that off at some point, but yeah, look at how free this is. My friend and my buddy said that that's a fairly normal amount of free play, so I'm still not entirely sure what the heck that awful noise was. So that's a fun mystery for later, I suppose. The financial timing on this isn't so hot, especially when it means I also can't use my shop for any of the other stuff I have going on. I can't do anything with the Buick or the Insight because this is here and I only have the one bay to work in. So cool. I guess I'll go add some more stuff to my ever-growing negative balance on my credit card. And catch y'all next week. My battery died in the middle of the intro because absolutely nothing is going to work for me right now. But hey, new battery. Anyways, thanks for watching.